There we go. Welcome. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning, May 16th, for our FERN webinar. This one is for organizations specifically. We did host one more for teachers or people trying to find resources. So, feel free to go check out that video if that's the audience that you are. This one's more targeted for organizations who are going to be listing programs and resources on FERN, which we'll get to what that is in just a moment. But first, with the agenda.
Indeed. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here and to be able to talk about FERN. So we are going to introduce ourselves and elements in this meeting. We'll tell you what FERN is and then how you can use FERN as an organization, as well as a little bit about what teachers will see on their end. And then we'll have an opportunity to answer any questions, ask and answer any questions that you might have along the way as well. So getting into it, as was said, my name is Ella, and I'm joining you today from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. I am here in Vancouver, and this is where I deliver and manage lots of the programs for Elements. So I am focused on zero waste education here. And I've been an environmental educator for quite a while now with a science background. And I started mainly in freshwater. And so it's really interesting to be doing zero waste education because everything is linked to everything else. In addition to focusing on program delivery, I'm also looking after FERN. So I'm on the back end of lots of those emails and questions that come to FERN. It's great to be here today. And I have with me Kaylee.
Hello, yes, I'm Kaylee. I'm the executive director here at Element Society. I am based out of Calgary, so I'm on the other end of things, away from Ella and the rest of the team, but we connect lots, which is great. So Calgary, and in Calgary, I live just east of the Tsuut'ina First Nation. And Calgary is also home to the Blackfoot Confederacy, which is composed of the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani First Nation, as well as the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations, and also the Métis Nation of Alberta. So lots of people who make their home in Calgary today, including myself. I am the executive director currently. I've been at the organization for about 3.5 years in various positions, so also designing and delivering programs. And this is kind of the next chapter, which is really exciting for me. Before joining Element Society, I was a elementary school teacher. I'm an elementary classroom teacher teaching mostly grade 5 here in Calgary. And I think I'm really just very excited about FERN because this is a resource that I wish that I had when I was a teacher. So we'll get into what that is, but I'm really excited to be able to kind of launch this and try to connect more teachers to more environmental education programs like yours. We're really, really quickly going to go over who Elements is, why we're here with this resource called FERN. So we are a nonprofit environmental education, a nonprofit that delivers environmental education programs. We are, as I mentioned, some of us are based in Calgary, some of us in Metro Vancouver, and we also have some partners who work with our Eco Cooks program in Kelowna. And so those are sort of the programs that we run. And then recently, we also have launched FERN, which we'll talk about in a second. If you are interested in hearing more about any of these programs, so EcoCooks or Zero Waste Place, or Voyage Zero Déchet, also called Journey, or Journey to Zero Waste, please feel free to go to our website. But of course, that's not the point for today. We're going to focus on FERN, but just wanted to mention that as well. So while I kind of switch screens here, Ella will tell you a little bit about why we created FERN and what it is.
Okay, so we created FERN so that teachers and environmental education organizations can find each other because we know that there are so many amazing resources and programs out there, but sometimes it's really hard for teachers to find them and especially find programs that fit their needs as well. And so FERN is acting as a centralized place where organizations can list their programs and teachers can really easily find programs that fit their needs. So it's really a connection point between teachers and organizations. We'll show you a little bit more about that as we show you the listings and what that takes. But also wanted to mention that another purpose for FERN is to be able to show us what environmental education looks like in BC, Alberta, and then across Canada, so that we can find what currently exists, where there are gaps, where might need more support. And with having this information, we can then provide it to organizations, to teachers, and more to support things like funding applications and development of programs, so that it's really highlighted the need for these different programs. So FERN was officially launched publicly in January, and it's still currently in the beta version. So it's still just getting a little bit of testing. We're like ironing out some wrinkles as we welcome people into this website. But yeah, we're really excited to show you what it currently looks like and what its current function is. So Kaylee is going to start off by showing us what FERN looks like for teachers and a little bit about how teachers are going to be able to use this site.
Awesome. Thanks, Ella. Yeah. So, how to find FERN in the first place? You can do it a couple ways. So, good old Google or any sort of search function on your browser of choice. Usually, the best way is to type in FERN and Element Society, and there's going to be a couple things that pop up. So, there's our media release, our Instagram post, our Facebook, lots of different stuff. And the other quick way to go about it is through our website. So Element Society, right at the very top here in this yellow bar, it'll say Discover FERN, so you can click there. Or we also have a tab over here that says Introducing FERN. So either of those methods will get you to our website, which looks like this. And so it's just fern.elements society.org. And anyone can access this. So teachers don't have to have an account. You don't need to log in as a person just going and looking for resources. So as soon as you get onto the landing page, you can scroll down and you can go through any of those resources or programs. And so we'll get into sort of what those look like. And I guess I'm going to go through that right now. So basically, as you go on here, from the teacher view, they're mostly going to be interacting with it using the filters. So they're going to be maybe selecting a preset filter. So if they're looking for things that are free, they can click on one of those preset filters, and it'll narrow that down to 46 results, all of which are free. And then of course, there's also choose your own filter. So, delivery format, we'll get into all of these and what it looks like, but say they're looking for an in-person program for grade 1, they can apply those filters and then it will show up with those different programs that are connected to that. So this is, again, we're showing you this on the front end, and because it's really important for you as an organization to enter those details correctly when you're making your listing in the first place. So this is what it will appear like. And so, if you're accidentally selecting that it's paid when it's not, then people aren't going to find you if they're looking for free resources. So just nice to know sort of what it looks like for the teachers or for the users. So there's a little preview here. And then when you say show details, there's all this other information that pops up. And we're going to get into the form on the back end, what that looks like for you as an organization. I guess a little bit more specifically, but just sort of keeping in mind, this is what it will appear like. So there's the full description here. There's this little pop out here where it has who to email, who to contact, a website list, our accessibility pieces down here, main details about the program, whether it's a resource or a program, whether it's free or paid, the title, the organization, where it's listed, age, curriculum, all these different sections, and then your smaller description over here. So just kind of keep that in your mind's eye as we're going over to the creating a listing account. Creating a listing part. Ella right now is going to go through how to get to that point. So how we're going to create an account as an organization.
Good stuff. So yes, as we said, the main website is free for teachers to access, and they don't need to create an account to be able to find any of the programs that are listed. But organizations, because you're putting so much information into the website, we do need you to create an account. So up at the top there, you can see listing organizations, sign in or join. And then you can also click up on the top at the moment to list and sign in. So when you're creating an account, we highly recommend making this a general organization account rather than a personal one, so that different people in the organization can have access to the account, and it's really easy to pass on if necessary to someone else, or have multiple people be able to look and edit the listing as necessary. So you'll just put in your details here, and then you can just click sign up, and it will take you to a page for your organization where you can have a look at, manage, and create your own listings for your own programs. So you can see up the top there, all listings is like the main website page. Manage listings is main website page. Manage listings is where your programs will live, and then your account is just details for your account if you need to check in on what those are. So we're going to look at managing your listings, and Kaylee is going to walk us through what that looks like and how you can create one.
Perfect. Thanks, Ella. So yeah, once you're logged in, the main clue that you're in your account will be that this top bar changes. So of course you can see, like, for Element Society, our published listings down there. This was another test one. But I'm going to go through and click here, submit a new listing, just so we can go through one together. So the first part that you're going to come to, so organization information. And again, this is where you can put, a contact that, an email that will be maybe for the organization in general. So for ours, that's like an info one instead of my personal email. You can put a specific contact name here. That's okay. And then for listing information, this is where kind of your first decision comes. So FERN, we have programs and resources. So a program would be something that you as an organization are delivering, whether it is in person or virtual. And a resource is something that teachers are going and accessing on their own time, maybe not necessarily having any support to do that. And depending on which one you pick here at the start, it will actually change the form down below. There's a couple questions that apply to a program that don't apply to a resource, and vice versa. So this is kind of your first decision. Is it a program or is it a resource? Please try to keep it to one thing at a time. So if you have multiple programs, try to create one listing for each of those programs. Otherwise, the description can be a little bit muddied. And there's also amazing search filters that will help teachers filter that out. And it just sort of helps show the breadth of programs that we have to offer, or resources. So you can put your name up here, and you'll see that's the thing that appeared. We'll show you what the draft listing, or maybe I'll be more creative. The amazing resource or program. And yeah, you'll kind of see how this appears. And anything with the red asterisks is mandatory, and it'll alert you just like any form. If you haven't filled it out properly, it'll show you where you haven't done that. And we're going to keep going here. So location. So this is a geographic filter. So right now we're just focusing on gathering data or listings for Alberta and BC. And so there is the option just to click this program or resource is available nationwide. So if it is something that you're offering virtually, this might apply. or if you are, for example, just operating out of Calgary, or a couple different places, you can select those here. So it's quite a long list. So if you are unsure which school district you're in, we've got a couple links to the maps there, and that will hopefully help you narrow it down. You can also select multiple areas. So if you are delivering, Calgary and area, you might want to take a peek at the map and see which other school districts you fall within. Or similarly, if you are delivering in BC, you might want to take a peek and see, in Metro Vancouver, how many different school districts that is. So just for this one, I'll just click a couple. Keep going here. So age or grade level, again, this is who that program or resource is targeted for. We do have a couple kind of outside of school options. So if you teach pre-kindergarten or youth outside of school, like an after-school program, or adult learners, or if you're providing professional learning for teachers, we tried to capture that here. So it's not just for K to 12. We're hoping it to be for environmental education resources for lots of different scenarios. And then you'll see curriculum connected is not mandatory, but this is for just asking yourself the question, is your program or resource connected to the applicable provincial curriculum? So this would be the curriculum that teachers are teaching or mandated to teach. So the Ministry of Education curriculums. So again, we're not vetting the resources that are coming through. We're scanning and making sure the information is correct and that it's a legitimate entry, but we're not going through and analyzing all the resources. So this is just up to you as an organization to decide, yes, have we, internally vetted and make ensured that our curriculum and our programs are connected. If so, then press yes. You can also specify which curriculum that's connected to. So if you think you've identified strong connections to, language, arts, social studies, sciences, and math, feel free to select those. You'll notice that you can select for most of the questions, if not all of them, you can select multiple ones. So do feel like if it does apply to all of those, you can, but just be careful if you're clicking things on and off that you're not you're not just clicking everything just to try to appear in more results. It's better to have like an accurate representation of what that program or resource covers. All right, we'll keep going here. So delivery format. So again, this tried to capture the multiple ways that this might be delivered as a program. So is it something that you're doing online, live, where you're hosting an interactive session? Is it asynchronous, so someone can be taking that in their own time? Or is it in person? Or is it a resource that teachers are accessing? And then setting, again, tried to capture the nuance here. But if there's something that doesn't fit your context, please let us know. As Ella said, this is in beta. So if there's something we haven't thought of, this is the time to let us know. And we'll show you at the bottom where you can put that information. So in class, in a school, you're going to the school, or field trip, indoor, outdoor, the class is coming to you or the group is coming to you. And then a club or workshop would be sort of a non-school environment. And then cost, again, you can click multiple things here. So you could have a program that has a fee for class or per student, but you also have a bursary available, and we'll kind of show you what that looks like. Again, language, you can select multiple if it's bilingual, or there's a lot of these fields here where it will have options for commenters, comments for the administrator. So that's just for us. Again, we're looking for feedback on these questions. If we get a bunch of people saying that we actually have this resource in Spanish, then maybe we need to add a Spanish toggle here. But for now, we've just got English and French. And then program length, again, fairly self-explanatory, looking at, different programs that might just be a single session. Maybe it's a couple sessions, or maybe it's a single day, half day. So again, read through the descriptions, pick what works for you and that program or resource. Environmental topics, so lots to choose from here. This was a challenge to try and capture, environmental education falls under so many umbrellas. And so again, try to pick things that work the best for you. There's always a program description section, which will show you at the bottom that you can add some of this nuance if it's not captured in the filters. So try to pick what works best, and then again, give us some feedback here if there's something that you really wish you could have selected here but couldn't. And then accessibility. So again, this one's not mandatory, but this is just a flag for teachers that, this is a resource or a program that, say it's a field trip where they know that you are able to accommodate for physical disabilities or accommodate for folks with neurodiverse participants. We really encourage you to select this. It just, again, is something that was missing from a lot of other filters and a lot of other search functions. So this is an interesting priority for us. I think it really flags to folks that environmental education is for all participants, and that you as an organization have considered how to accommodate for those needs. So do feel free to click that off, and it basically will just say, please contact us for more information about this. And then time of year, again, a couple other options here. And then listing description. So this is the big section here. So this is your time to give an overall one-liner overview in 35 words or less. This is the snapshot. This is the elevator pitch for your resource or program. So you're going to put your couple of sentences here, and some key information. And then your listing description full is your time to elaborate on any details that weren't able to be captured above. So, if there was specific skills that you're going to focus on during your program, or the format, how it works. So, again, you don't want it to be a whole page. They can always go to your website to find out more, but you're able to list a little bit more detail here. Okay, and then more info and how to register. So this is sort of important instructions for registration that teachers might want to know before they go to your website. You can keep this quite short. It doesn't need to be, again, phone so-and-so and ask for this. Could just be some more specific contact information, or the best way to get a hold of you. So for example, go to the website to book the program, a link to their or a phone number, whatever the most direct way is for them to get in contact and and book that program directly is best here. And then we have our listing website. So again, this is, you'll see where it appears in that bottom right-hand corner, but we're hoping that you'll put here a link to a specific program or resource rather than your general website. There is a spot for your general website where your organization name is. So they're always able to find that, but we're really hoping this will be a little bit more direct. So it's not too much clicking around for teachers if they just go to your website and they're like, wait, how do I find this really awesome resource? So make sure to put that specific link there. Okay, and then we've got confirmation. So again, this is just for internal use. So this is a great spot to put any feedback. And we're really open to receiving that at this time for sure. You can click off if you would like to be contacted about anything. So this just adds you onto our newsletter. And then of course, just making sure that you are authorized by your organization to list this. There's two buttons here at the bottom. There's one that says save and complete later. So that's great if you don't have time, but this will make it just sit in your drafts folder. So please make sure to submit your listing, and it might show me an error. Yeah, I was like, it's going to tell me, oh, I'm going to steal CPAWS. Apparently I have their link there. So please make sure to press submit listing. We had a few folks who have sort of just had it sitting in their drafts, and then they're like, hey, our resource isn't up yet. And I'm like, oh, it's in your drafts. So just make sure that you press that button. What's going to happen on the back end is it's going to then send us an email alert and say, hey, so-and-so has just listed this or submitted a request to list this program or resource called the Amazing Program. And we're going to go in and review that quickly. Again, we're not vetting, we're not going in and, testing the lesson plans and making sure it's an awesome lesson plan. We're just initially seeing, does it fit within the scope of the project? Um, but this is kind of, yeah, where it pops up to us. And then you're going to sorry, this is the preview. And then you got to keep going, making sure that you're going to press submit, and then that will notify us. Okay, anything I'm missing, Ella, for that part?
Uh, just that I like your question, Katie. Katie, I'll get to that in a second. So, once you have submitted your listing, it won't show us up as published straight away
Hmm.
because that's going to be the chance for our team to just go and have a look at it, and then publish it pretty quickly. Then you will see it instead of sitting in your drafts, it's going to sit not in your pending listings, it's going to sit in your published listings, and that's where you'll be able to see it. Um, Great question from Katie about how you can edit your listing.
Yeah.
So you'll see at the bottom of all of these different boxes. So this is in your manage listings section. You will be able to see that at the bottom of each of those programs is a little edit button. So you can click on that, change any of the details that you need to, and then submit it again. When you do submit it again, it will be reviewed by us just to make sure that everything works, that the links all work and everything, and then it will be published again. Not too big of a worry. So the last thing that I think we want to show you is on a listing. You are able to ask teachers to recommend the program. So at the bottom of each of your listings, there is a link to a teacher feedback form. So this link is specifically for this program. You can copy this link and then you can send it to the teachers that participated in your program. They will get this link to this very simple form where they can put in their name, where they took the program, and then whether or not they would recommend it. We've kept this very simple at the moment because teachers do not have any login details. And so that's what that looks like for that. And then on your listing, this will just show up in the more details section, looking like, are you going to be able to see it? Looking like that, just showing us that a teacher in Calgary recommended this program. It is your responsibility as an organization to send out this link if you would like to have teacher recommendations on your page. Yeah, so it's your responsibility to send out that link. Otherwise, the last thing that we're going to show you is the FAQ section, which Kaylee will be able to find, which just has some of the answers to some tricky questions that you might come across. So things like how do you submit and edit your listing? And then things like what to do if you don't have access to the account. A lot of these questions can be answered by emailing us, fern@elements-society.org. You'll be able to send us an email and we will be able to answer any of those questions that do come up. I see that we're at 11:30. Kaylee, do you have anything else to add, or does anyone have any questions that they don't think have been answered?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Definitely, if you we'll be available for a few more minutes here if you'd like to stick around, if you do have some more questions. So feel free to pop that in the chat, or if you want to unmute and just speak those, that works as well. Yeah, I didn't have anything else to add other than maybe what's next for Fern. I'll just maybe share that while we see if anyone writes some any questions in the chat. So we're really excited, as we said, to launch this. We're hoping to continue to gather information from organizations like yourselves, or listings, I should say, trying to get a pretty robust database for teachers. We have about, I think we're sitting at 90 listings right now, which is amazing. So just hoping to continue to grow that. So let other organizations know, spread the word, let teachers know, just trying to get the word out there about FERN and how, and keep it as up to date and amazing as possible. As Ella said, we're focused right now on gathering resources from Alberta and BC. We would love to be able to expand this nationwide, but maybe not just yet. We're just going to focus on doing a really good job in the provinces we are. But stay tuned for other opportunities in other provinces soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So share this with all the other organizations that you know, and all of the teachers that have participated in your programs, and tell them to tell someone else as well. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time and for coming and joining us to learn about FERN today. And we hope to see you out there doing more environmental education.